Hi, and welcome back to My Perspective. I'm your host, Shelby, and in this episode, we'll be exploring some practical strategies to implement to maintain that healthy balance between academics and nurturing your well-being. College life is such a huge transition, and I know a lot of you are going back to school this year, and so with the right habits, we can all set ourselves up for success. Even though I'm not going back to college, these are some things that I would implement if I was going back in a couple weeks. Before we get into today's episode, let me tell you a little bit about what's going on. Currently, Hurricane Hillary is happening right now. I live in Southern California, so it's hitting us, of course. Everyone's freaking out about it, and maybe it is worse in some areas, or maybe it just isn't bad yet. Right now, it's just like heavy rain, but you can hear it in the background, so I apologize for that. Hopefully it's not too bad. I love the rain though. Let's get into this week's segments. First is, I thought I had a really great point to it and was such a great perspective from females, but I did get distracted quite often. My attention span is so bad. Not like I was extremely intrigued in it for some reason. I liked it. Second was I went to the Del Mar horse races and I got to invite my friend Carrie and Caitlin to come because one of our VPs, his kids were sick. But I didn't bet on any horses, but I still went, and it was still lots of fun. It was just good seeing Carrie and Caitlin. Okay, but the real thing is, so I took the train from Del Mar back to Orange County, and I sat next to a man who was honestly so nice. I sat next to him because he looked normal, and he told me his whole life story, and it turned out he was incarcerated for many years for murdering someone when he was 16, which was actually insane because I mean, nobody tells you stuff like that. So I just got to pick his brain for almost an hour. I guess there's a documentary about him. I started watching it yesterday. It's called Cue Ball. It's really interesting. I eventually want to have him on the podcast. I got his information. I did a debate in college about the incarcerated and rehabilitation programs. So it was really cool to talk to somebody who actually has done that because we didn't actually go implement anything. We were just arguing one side or the other. I don't know. It made me want to go to the juvenile system in Orange County and volunteer because my company is possibly going to win a project to redo or make a new juvenile system in Orange County. I don't really know. And I might be on it. It was a really interesting conversation. I learned a lot from him. Never thought I would talk to someone who's killed someone before. Honestly, I can't think of an obsession of the week. I really don't have one. But I do have a dislike of the week. My body image has been insane this week and last week as well. And I'm hoping it's just because I'm in my luteal phase and I'm about to start my period. And I really hope it's not me from now on because it's really taking a toll on my mental health. I just feel extremely not confident and insecure in what I look like. I feel like I'm holding a lot of water retention right now, so I'm trying to do all the remedies to help that. But I just don't feel good. I just want it to pass already. So it happens to the best of us. It happens to me pretty much every 30 days on my period. So I guess I just have to wait until it's over and hopefully it'll get better. I'll keep y'all updated. I'm reading a new book right now. It's called The Summer That Made Us. I also just finished The Summer I Turned Pretty. That was actually such a good show. I did not think it was going to be. And I really want to read the books after I finish this book. I want to read all of them because I know it's a series. Let's just get into today's episode because I've got a lot of info for y'all. Let me count how many tips it is. I have 9 health and wellness tips for going back to school. These are habits that I would probably implement if I was going back to college this year, or things I just recommend that I have done already. The rain is so loud, so I apologize if you guys can hear it a lot. I'm not sure how much you guys can actually hear. Starting off strong, creating a manageable routine while going back to school. I don't know if you guys knew, but the transition from moving houses or just going to college or just moving in general is one of the biggest life stresses there are. So give yourself grace in trying to get your routine back. But know that once you do get your routine, it's going to be such a significant impact in your overall well-being, just being at college. So I highly recommend creating a manageable routine when it comes to your morning and night routine. Let's talk about tips on what you can do. So for a morning routine, I highly recommend waking up at the same time every day to regulate your body's internal clock. I try to go to bed by 9 p.m. every day, and then I usually wake up from 4:30 to 6:30. That's like a 2-hour. You want to go to bed and wake up in a 2-hour frame. I am so thirsty in the morning, so I usually chug some water right when I wake up. I never go 8 hours without drinking water during the day. So for me, going to bed and not drinking water for 8 hours is probably an extreme shock for my body. So highly recommend to hydrate yourself. Another thing you could add to your morning routine maybe is like journaling or writing your to-do list of things that you got to do. I always try to have a very balanced breakfast. So I've been on a smoothie kick, so I add some spinach, blueberries, protein, seeds, and then I love to go outside, get some sun on my face, walk miso, gets your blood flowing, regulates your circadian rhythm. And then for your nighttime routine, also try to wake up and go to bed at the same time. I try to get off my phone an hour before bed, or I put on the red light on my phone. I start my bedtime routine around 8 p.m. so my body knows we turn off the lights, we read, or we watch. I shouldn't be watching TV, but sometimes that's how I want to relax. I'll make some tea. Do whatever you feel really just calms you, and really try to make your room as dark and cold as possible, because the colder you are, it will be easier to fall asleep. Try to avoid heavy meals or caffeine or alcohol before going to bed, because it will really disrupt your sleep. And then maybe you want to journal, reflect on your day, or practice some gratitude. Taking care of your well-being isn't just about attending classes and completing assignments. It's actually crucial to invest time into your self-care activities, because it will refresh your mind and your body to then go another day of school, be a good friend, be a good student. And self-care is not selfish. It's a foundation for you to just be successful, and you have to incorporate activities that make you happy and reduce your stress, improve your mental health, improve your ability to focus on your academics and excel, because that's why you are in school. You're there to learn, you're there to make community and network and grow as a human. Try to incorporate some hobbies or just anything that makes you feel at mind. I like to read or go to yoga, take miso on a walk. Just find what self-care habits really make a difference for you and try to incorporate that every single day. And remember that prioritizing self-care isn't a luxury. It's a necessity for maintaining balance and thriving academically. And you have to set the time for yourself, just like you set the time for yourself to study. You need to do the same thing for your physical and mental health. Creating a routine that works for you is all about finding the right balance between structure and flexibility. So we're going to go through some tips to tailor your own routine to fit to your individual preferences and your busy schedule. First thing I want you to do is identify your peak times. Pay attention to when you feel the most energized and focused during the day. Schedule your important tasks or study sessions during those times so you maximize your productivity. I know I'm more productive in the mornings because I get a midday slump. Next is set realistic goals. Don't overwhelm yourself with an extensive to-do list. Set achievable goals each day that align with what is most priority. Maybe you can make a to-do list and you have your top 3, and those are 3 things you have to get done today, and then the rest are if you have enough time. You have to be adaptable. Life is completely unpredictable, especially when you are in college and there's so many factors that come into play: finals, professors, friends, jobs. Allow room for spontaneity and don't be too hard on yourselves if things don't go as planned. Yes, having a structure and a routine is a really good feeling, but you shouldn't get stressed out or overwhelmed if maybe you didn't get to go on your morning walk that you always go to, or maybe you didn't go to the gym at the same time, or maybe you got to class and you realized class was canceled. And for me, when things don't go as planned, I get really frustrated. It honestly ruins my whole day. So I don't like the unknown, and I like to plan for things. Be a little easy on yourself. You gotta incorporate breaks in your routine. Don't forget to schedule short breaks to just recharge, go back to your dorm, sleep, take a walk, try to get your energy levels back, because school is so stressful. There's so many, like I said, there's so many things that we can't control. We're also surrounded by all our best friends, and there's just so many social things going on. Really try to just take time for yourself. One thing that really helps me when going to school is Google Calendar. I use for every single class that I go to, meetings, appointments, workout classes. I have it color coordinated so beautiful. And then I use an Excel sheet as a to-do list, so it has every single assignment that I'm going to have for the whole quarter with all my classes, and I bold the ones that are finals or quizzes or papers, something that's going to take me longer. And then every day I go in order to what to do that day. I mean, they're color coordinated by class, and then the date is they're in order about what to do first, and then I just go in that order, and I look ahead to the bolded section to see what I have to work on a little bit sooner than obviously the assignments that will just take me a couple hours. And just managing your time is super important. So that's why I say utilize those apps or calendars or whatever it's going to help you to just stay on top of your classwork. Through all of that, you have to experiment and evaluate. Your routine isn't set in stone. Periodically assess how well it's working for you. Maybe you need to change something up. So just be open to adjusting it and not be so strict on what you have to do or what you can't do. Your routine is supposed to support your well-being and help you achieve your goals. It's not about fitting a specific mold. It's about creating a structure that enhances your college experience while still allowing space for your individuality. That's why I talked a little bit about the morning and night routine and previous to this tip, because maybe you don't know your school schedule yet or something, but you do know your morning and night routine, and that helps you feel at ease, and then you can work around that. So find your routine, whether it's a morning routine, a night routine, or maybe like your midday workout routine. First off, you need to balance your workload. Distributing your classes evenly throughout the week can prevent you to be overwhelmed on certain days and allow you to just have a steady workflow. This also can help you absorb the information effectively. I'm saying this because I have 20 units every single quarter, sometimes more than 20 units. Most of my classes were Monday through Thursdays. I never had a Friday class all of college. I always tried to have them on 2 days a week, so Mondays, and then I guess the other days was nice because all I did was homework. So a lot goes into balancing what schedule works for you, but I guess figure out if what's more important, to have that extra day of no class or to have a little bit of class every single day and you distribute your workload. I mean, I guess you can go both ways. I personally didn't do that, but I recommend it. Make sure you manage your time wisely when you pick your classes. Make sure you have enough time to do personal activities, study sessions, and also just relaxation. You don't want to feel rushed going to class. I did 8 a.m. classes this past year, and that was the worst idea ever. So I had a lot of free electives, so I tried to pick classes that really aligned with what academically I wanted and career-wise. So try to prioritize those classes. Don't just try to pick the easiest class or the easiest professor, because you might be really invested in the classes that you're interested in. So I took exercise and nutrition. I took a bunch of psychology classes. I took a lot of random classes, but they all were things I was interested in, and I feel a lot more well-rounded as a person, and I excelled in them a lot more because I actually cared about what I was learning about versus just trying to get that class credit. Another reason why it's really important to pay attention to how you structure your class, if it's up to you, sometimes they just do it for you, is it'll reduce your risk of burnout. I know so many people who are burned out, and I personally was burned out in college at one point. It gives you enough time to absorb the information, learn, have less stress. You won't be so exhausted you can't hang out with other people. I highly recommend taking a class that has nothing to do with your academics as well. Like I took pickleball. I took the most random classes sometimes, and those were also fun because it just gave you a break, and those were the easy classes. So have a balance between classes you have to take, classes you're interested in, and then classes that are just fun. Something about making your class schedule is to maximize your efficiency. So try to avoid long breaks between classes so you can utilize that downtime. Sometimes if you have like a 4-hour break between classes, you don't really want to go home because you have to be back on campus, but maybe you like to have like a 2-hour break so you have enough time to get food and go do a workout. So I guess try to figure out how long of a break you need between classes. I like to do classes back to back and then do my studying and work or workouts after or before class, but I know some people like to do it in the middle of them. It's all about aligning your classes to your internal clock, your energy levels, and your learning preferences. And obviously if you have work and stuff, everybody is so different. So just try to figure out what works for you, and every year your schedule will probably just get better. I got so many energy crashes when I was in college. I would sometimes almost fall asleep during class. I'm surprised I never did actually. And so that's why it's so important to know when to schedule your classes. When it was an 8 a.m., terrible, because every morning, I think I might have slept through a class. So It's important to know if you're an early bird or a night owl when it comes to classes, what time you're going to be able to wake up and how late you can stay. I wouldn't take a class that that started past 4 p.m. and I tried to get classes that started around 10 a.m. I like the early classes better than the evening classes, but a lot of comms classes were at night for some reason. You have to recognize that learning isn't just about absorbing information, but it's about also understanding it and retaining it effectively on how you're going to use it in the future. I know sometimes it's hard. You're taking a calc class and you're a psych major and you're like, when am I ever going to use calculus? I don't know, maybe you'll have a career change. And I completely understand that because that was me in history classes. I was like, I'm never going to use this in my life. I don't care. You just have to get through it. College is so much fun and some people's best years of their life, but it can also be overwhelming, especially when your class schedule is insane, you're taking too many, or you can't get into any classes. I had that issue way too many times. Since I graduated early was I didn't want to deal with scheduling classes. There was a variety of reasons, but that was one of them. But the way you organize your classes will ensure that you don't burn out. And let's talk about burnout, actually. Try to pay attention to how many credits you're taking because it's tempting to take a ton of classes and graduate early or just have a lighter senior year, but also realize that you might kill yourself in the process of getting there. I decided to graduate early my sophomore year summer. And I started taking summer classes my sophomore year. So, okay, let's break it down. Freshman year, I went into college with no credits from high school. I didn't take any AP classes. I took honors, but none of that transfers, obviously. I didn't take summer classes going into college. I honestly didn't really know the process for all of that. And I'm a first gen student, so no one really was there to help me. So freshman year, I took probably the bare minimum classes every single quarter and was just like a normal standing freshman. Then I wanted to take summer classes going into my sophomore year, but I still did not know how to sign up. And then I'm pretty sure I missed the registration date. Every single year until my probably last such an issue with getting into classes, I would beg professors to let me in. I almost wasn't eligible for financial aid because I couldn't get into classes, and it was just such a stressful time. It was always because there were people that had more credits than me, and that's how the registration process goes. So then my sophomore year, I took probably 16 to 18 units every quarter, pretty average as well. My sophomore year summer, I took summer classes, and I think I did going into my junior year, that's going into my junior year. So I took 3 classes in the first half, and then I took 1 class so I took 4 classes, which is a quarter of school basically. I died the first one because I was also working probably 70 hours a week and trying to take a full load of classes in 5 weeks. So I was really struggling. Thankfully, Max was gone for the summer for baseball, so all I did was work and school, worked out. I grinded that summer. I was like, okay, that summer I decided that I was going to graduate early or I was going to drop out of school. That's because I hated school so much, and so I gave myself 2 options. I realized that I was already almost done with college. I finished 2 years, I might as well finish, and my sister convinced me. She was like, you go to a really good school, this degree actually matters, you can do it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to graduate early then since I'm not going to drop out. I don't know what the hell I would have done if I dropped out, but then my junior year, I decided, okay, I'm going to graduate early. I didn't even know if it was possible, but I was going to try it no matter what. I took 20 to 22 units every single quarter for 3 quarters. Thinking about it, I only had 1 summer I took extra credits. So, and then I kind of miscalculated it because I thought I only need to take 19 credits, but I miscalculated because I tested out of French. I just thought that took up the credits, but it didn't. I still had to take those credits, just a different class. So I messed it up, but I took 20 to 22 credits every single quarter. And then I took 3 classes this summer in the first 5 weeks. And that was a little bit more manageable, but I still was working full time. I took so many classes and my schedule was insane for my last year, but I'm not going back. So it was all worth it. I don't recommend that. I mean, it's manageable and I did it, but I did sacrifice a lot because of how much work I had. I'm also not a straight A student, so I sacrificed getting I sacrificed getting perfect grades for finishing college early. And to me, that was worth it because I'm not planning to go to grad school until I'm way older and my grades from college won't matter. Okay, the one tip I have is also to be flexible within your schedule. If it's not working for you, don't hesitate to drop a class or if you're going to take a W on your transcript or whatever letter your college use, because if it's really affecting how you are physically and mentally, it's not worth it. You can make up that class in summer or over the winter break. It will really affect you if you just take on that class and you know you're not going to do well in it. Another thing is talk to people who have already taken that class or that professor to really get an insight of the workload and demands it takes, because personally, if you talk to me, I wasn't a straight A student. I wasn't necessarily failing. I probably got B's. I got B's and A's in almost all my classes. I think I got very few C's. If you talk to me, I'll tell you, do it. It's manageable. I honestly, if I'm going to be completely honest, didn't read majority of the books. I just am really good at doing all my assignments and papers. Actually, I am a pretty good writer, so I just excelled in writing and doing all my assignments, and that's how my grades stayed up, because I'm not the best test taker. So after your first quarter being back in school or your first couple of weeks, try to reevaluate your schedule if it's working or not working for you, and be prepared if you need to adjust it and you're overwhelmed. Remember, your schedule is a tool to support and help your learning style. It's not a blueprint to what's going to dictate your whole life. So organize it thoughtfully, prioritize your well-being, and set yourself up for success, because your mental health is so much more important. Okay, tip number 3 is maximize your campus resources. This is what I would do if I would go back. Most schools have a campus gym, and here's why you need to take advantage of it. Capitol Hill's campus gym was one of the nicest ones, I think, in the US or something for colleges. I lived for it. I wish I had it here. I wish I could just bring Capitol Hill's gym with me. But it's so convenient having a gym on your campus. So utilize it, because when you're out of college, you're going to have to pay for a membership. You don't have to travel far to work out, and it's right there. It's making it easier to incorporate your exercises into your routine before class, after class, in between classes. There's no excuse. College schedules are so demanding, and your time is precious. So while you have a gym on campus, you can fit a quick workout in, and you're not wasting time commuting to an off-campus gym, and maybe you'll run into some friends or something. My campus gym had so many different classes and equipment, so I did a bunch of yoga classes, Pilates, bar, HIIT. Maybe you have no exercise background. This is how I started. I started going on the treadmill and just walking, and then going in the little dance rooms. And that's so I'm a little bit on my own. Nobody's going to make fun of me, and I could just do like mat workouts until I felt a little bit more comfortable to go and try to use the machines. And there's a lot of testosterone out there, so it's kind of scary. But if you bring a friend, it's so much easier. Going to the gym is such a great community building activity. I always would bring a friend with me, because most of my friends didn't usually work out a ton, and they would always look to me for a workout. And it's kind of funny, because if I go with someone who's more gym motivated than me, then I'll just follow their workout. So I guess it kind of depends who's more dominant in the workout routine. But it's way more fun to go with your friends, and it adds a little bit of a social element to your fitness routine, and it also builds a bond between you. And then you keep each other accountable. Also, on-campus gyms are a much more budget-friendly option, because it's probably included in your tuition. So utilize it while you have it. College life is so stressful, and exercise is a great stress reliever. I knew that I would go to the gym every single day for an hour, whether it was a walk, whether it was a mat workout, or a weightlifting class. I just always tried to get in the gym, try to do some type of movement, because I know it just improved my anxiety, my stress, and just helped me wind down at night. Ever since I was a gymnast growing up, time management I learned at a very young age, and incorporating exercise into your day teaches you about time management. It shows you the balance between academics, socializing, and self-care. When I was a gymnast, I was training 25 hours a week. I would get picked up from school, and I would go straight to gymnastics, and I would do my homework on the way to gymnastics, and then when my mom picked me up, I would eat dinner on the way home. I think as a kid, I realized that I had to do my homework at any point I had. If I finished my classwork in class, I would start to do my homework. I would do my homework on the weekends. I would utilize every moment I had to get my school done, and then I would eat in the car. I mean, that's not the healthiest thing, but I was prioritizing I wanted to be a professional gymnast, but obviously that didn't happen. But I was prioritizing school, I was prioritizing my nutrition by still eating a meal, and I was prioritizing the sport that I loved. And then I would hang out with my friends on the weekend. So it's so important to just learn how to time manage, because if you've never had a job, if your parents have done everything growing up for you, and all of a sudden now you're at college and you have to cook for yourself, you have to work out and go to class and do your homework and socialize. It can be very overwhelming, and you got to learn it sooner than later, because college is when you have the most accessible resources to you. You have so many resources to you, and everybody wants to help you. When you're out of college, you have a lot less likely of getting help because you're an adult now and you got to figure it out yourself. That is probably the hardest truth I figured out, is in college, you have career fairs, you have gyms, you have campus resources, you have friends. Everything is within your arm's reach, and utilize it while you have it now, because it's not always going to be there. Going to the gym is also a great way to learn how to have goals. And I learned this in gymnastics too, because I always wanted to move up to the next level. I always wanted to have the best skill. I always wanted to be the best on the team. And we were taught how to slowly incorporate small, I'd say like techniques and drills to then get that goal. I guess sports is all goal setting, at least for like individualistic sports. Going to the gym, you can have that same type of goal setting. You can learn about that because you are a runner. You're going to run for distance or time. If you're a weightlifter, you're going to do it by reps or by weight, and having an access to a gym and utilizing it will let you achieve fitness goals and help you then set it and utilize that same skill you're going to use for the gym into the rest of your life. Another thing about utilizing your gym is you can register for gym classes. Gym classes I took when I was in college is I took pickleball, Pilates, yoga, and pickleball again. And if I were to go back to college, I'd probably take golf, pickleball, and I also took weightlifting. I would highly recommend registering for a gym class because it introduces you to a structure, commitment to an exercise regimen. If you want to goal set or you want to do time management, sign yourself up for one of these classes, because you're getting college credit, but then it's also you're getting college credit, so you're getting graded on it. So you have to show up and be committed, and it's a non-negotiable appointment that you have to go to, ensuring that you will allocate your time for your physical well-being, and then you already got your workout in for the day, and then you don't have to schedule it because you're required to be there. Another thing about taking classes at college is you're going to learn a skill. And I learned how to play pickleball. I'm still not the best, but I'm getting there. When I took yoga, I've never taken any yoga class before, so I learned about chaturanga and vinyasa and the thing where you lie on the floor and like don't move. There's so many. You're just broadening your skills, just incorporating more into your life. I promise you won't regret it. It's a college experience you have to try. Tip number 4 of a habit that I would start doing when I go back to college is going to the farmer's market more. I think Cal Poly or SLO has one of the best farmer's market in the US ever. It's every Thursday night. Let me tell you why you should start incorporating the farmer's market into your weekly routine. When you buy from local vendors at a farmer's market, you're getting your food that's been grown and or produced nearby. That means it's likely to be fresher. It hasn't traveled long distances to come to you. Fresher produce typically retains more nutrients and flavor, giving you a better quality and more nourishing eating experience. I tried to go to the farmer's market as much as I could. I would get berries, I would get fresh produce. They had breads, they had juices, flours, and it was honestly so fun to go with Max and to go with my friends and make a whole little activity out of it. The benefits also go way beyond the food on your plate because you're supporting local vendors. You're also contributing to your local economy and helping sustain small businesses. I really tried to shop at smaller businesses. There was kind of like a Erewhon dupe in SLO, and so I'd always try to go there because they had a lot of the local vendors inside their store, because SLO is agriculture. It's all farm. So you would think we would have the best food ever, and I hope that Whole Foods and Trader Joe's uses the local farmers. I don't know. When you're going to the farmer's market, your money is staying within the community, so you're supporting jobs and you're boosting your local economy. And also, you know where your food is coming from, and you can actually connect with the farmers or the vendors. There's a transparency and trust there. You can ask them questions about their farming practices, ingredients, their cooking tips. You can ask if it's organic, if it had pesticides. I think that will just help you create more healthier choices because you're seeing the whole food product right in front of you, and you can ask them any question you like, and you know exactly what's going into your body because it's like a legit whole zucchini or something. You can create an activity of going to the farmer's market with your friends, maybe getting a corn on the cob and picking up some Also, sometimes it's cheaper. So you're just picking up some maybe a couple things that you would usually get at Trader Joe's. No, I'm not going back to college this year. There is a farmer's market in Irvine, which is near me, and I definitely want to go. There's also one in Laguna, so I need to check them out because I love the farmer's market and I haven't been since I was at college. I know anytime I go to college, though, I'm going to visit the farmer's market. But tip number 5 is balancing your social and self-care, and just maintaining a balance between your social activities and self-care, because this is so important for your wellness. I would pay a lot more attention to this if I was going back to school this year, because college environments are so demanding and it's really hard to just pay attention to yourself because there's so many people there and you're with all your friends. Sometimes you just forget that you have some necessities in your life. We already talked about self-care and how it's very important, but try to schedule regular me time. Okay, that can be for activities you like reading, walking, gratitude, meditation, but going to the gym, like I said already, is a great me time if you want to go alone. You have to set boundaries. I know I've talked about boundaries so much in other episodes, but you need to learn to say no when your schedule is completely full. You don't want to overcommit yourself because that will lead to burnout, and you have to communicate your boundaries to your friends and make sure that they know your priorities. Maybe your priority is to be a straight A student, or maybe your priority is to go to the gym, and you already hung out with that friend that week and you're like, okay, I love you and I want to be your friend and I am your friend and I care about you, but we already hung out this week and I have a lot to do on my plate, so can we please schedule a time to hang out next week? You don't need to hang out with a friend every single day for them to know that you guys are still friends. I'm a huge planner, so I put everything in my Google Calendar. I try to schedule in coffee dates or walks or going to the gym. I try to combine, if I'm super busy, I'm like, okay, I'm already going to the gym. If you want to hang out with me, come with, or I'm going to walk miso, or, you already have to eat that day. So plan to eat with somebody. You can figure it out how to implement friends into your life. When you're picking what plans to do with people, really pick the ones that you actually want to do. You don't have to go to all of them if your schedule is just completely packed. Just make sure that, maybe you hate going out, so don't go out. Do what you need to do during that time all your friends are going out. But maybe you guys go to coffee every single Saturday morning and you love going to Saturday morning coffee. Don't cancel on coffee. Just cancel on the night out the night before. Vice versa. Pick what's more important to you. Habit number 6 is to party mindfully. I know we go back to college and we all go crazy and we binge drink and you all think it's normal. But I'm here to give you some tips on how to make it more balanced, because not everybody's just going to abstain from alcohol. I'm not dumb. Let's talk about how you can go back to college but still care about your health. First off, my biggest tip for everybody is to stay hydrated. Before, during, and after sipping on your favorite drink, make it a goal to down a glass of water. 1 glass for every alcoholic beverage will help you stay away from dehydration and also just help your body detoxify, because alcohol is literally toxic. Say I'll have a shot, I need to down an entire glass of water and then I can have another shot. Don't have drink after drink after drink with no water. Bad idea. Next is pick your drinks based off what has a low glycemic index. This is a hot tip for you. Here are some alcoholic beverages that are generally considered to be on the lower end on the glycemic index. First off is dry wines, such as red or white. Also, make sure you're buying a wine that is not American, because America has a lot less regulations when it comes to what they can put into their wine. Wine does not have a ingredients label. And also, most wines are not vegan. I would pay attention if you're vegan. But if you buy a wine that's not from America, they have a lot more regulations of what they're allowed to put in their wine. And so I think, okay, this is not for sure, but I would say there's 97 additives in a US wine. There's 47 in Europe. So there's a huge difference between buying European and American wines. Second one you can get is spirits. Many spirits like vodka, gin, rum, tequila, and whiskey are considered to be lower in carbs and have a minimal effect on blood sugar when consumed in moderation and without mixing high in added sugars. So when I went to the Del Mar horse races, I got a gin and tonic, or sometimes I'll get tequila soda with some lime in it. I really try to stay away from margaritas or stuff that has pomegranate juice or I don't know, some crazy stuff in there. If you like beer, light beers are typically lower in carbs and therefore have lower glycemic index compared to regular beers. Champagne that is labeled as brut nature or extra brut tends to be drier, which means it has fewer sugar and low glycemic index. Sugar-free mixes. If you're going to drink, I highly recommend taking activated charcoal before and after you drink. I swear by this. I do this all the time now. It helps neutralize toxins. Activated charcoal is known for its ability to bind to toxins and impurities in the digestive tract. It's like a magnet that attracts harmful substances and prevents them from being absorbed by the body. After a night out of drinking, activated charcoal can help a little bit with your hangover. I use it to minimize the effects of a hangover by absorbing all the alcohol byproducts and toxins. When I didn't take it before when I went to the horse races, but I took 2 before I went to bed, and then I took 2 before I woke up, and I had no hangover. And I had 4 drinks. I had 1 margarita. I don't usually drink margaritas, but I didn't know what to get. I got 2 gin and tonics, and then I got a white wine. Another thing that can really help with like a natural remedy of when you're going to drink is herbal teas like ginger or chamomile, because they help your digestion and relaxation. So maybe sip on these before and after you drink to just help your body kind of adapt, because you're adding a lot of stuff it's not used to into you. And then make sure you're eating before you drink, and then you're also eating after you drink. Your body's really dehydrated and is lacking nutrients. And so just try to get yourself situated. Moving forward, we got 2 tips or habits that I would do if I was going back to college. And the first one is getting off my phone more. If I was going back to school, I'd really immerse myself in an activity club, maybe like an artistic one like painting or pottery, or I would do like a pickleball club or golf club, something just to get away from my phone, because I'm just always on my phone. Then you can also invite a friend, and you could be a little activity you guys do together. Maybe it's a book club or it's a puzzle club. You cannot discover yourself on TikTok. I'm sorry, but it's just not going to happen. You're just going to swipe and swipe and swipe until you find a video that's going to give you a dopamine hit. You're going to feel so much better after doing a puzzle than going on TikTok, I promise. After engaging in a club or activity, you're giving yourself a sense of accomplishment because you're finishing a task. You're working towards something you worked really hard on, or you just got better at something, and it's going to improve your self-esteem. Whether you're doing something physical or creative, it's just going to enhance your whole life. Try it. And do it with someone. Even better. Last thing I would do if I was going back to college this year is to seek support. Not only does college have so many academic resources for you, but they also have a ton of personal growth resources. They have therapy people on campus. They have mentors. There's professors. There's upperclassmen. Many campuses offer professional therapy services, providing a safe and confidential space for you to address your mental health, your stress, overall your emotional well-being, emotional intelligence. Highly recommend taking advantage of these resources because it can help you figure out your school schedule, improve your resilience, and maintain a healthy balance between academic and personal life. I already said this, but transitioning to college or just going back to college is a huge transition in your life that can cause a lot of distress, and you have the resources and free people there to help you, so utilize it. And you can even find a mentor. So you can connect with a mentor that's a faculty member, an upperclassman, or maybe a professional in your field, because they can give you a unique insight into someone who already has the experience you want. And they can provide advice and wisdom and offer encouragement because you're away from your family and friends. And sometimes you just need a little bit of help navigating your personal pursuits and your academic goals. You're also going to be creating a network of resources that contribute to your overall growth as a human. And remember that asking for help is a sign of strength, and that these avenues can foster personal development and enhance your overall well-being and really contribute to your successful college experience. That concludes the end of this episode. I really, really want to encourage you guys to try to implement some of these healthy habits or just ideas into your college journey, because they're going to make such an impact on you physically and mentally. Obviously, there's a ton of health and wellness things I do in my day-to-day, but those are things that I would I would do or things I have done that have really impacted my experience in college. I also want to remind you that finding a balance between academic pursuits and well-being is essential for you to just have a really great college experience. And if your body and mind is doing well, you're going to do well academically. And if you work on yourself, you're going to be able to have flourishing relationships. Like, you have to have a good relationship with yourself to have a good relationship with your friends and family. Don't put your own self-care aside because there are a lot of activities and social activities going on, because you're the most important person. You have to fill up your own cup before you go fill up other people's cup. Make sure you follow My Perspective on Instagram, Shell Bright on TikTok. I hope you guys have a great week. I'll talk to you next week.